Observe. The primary cause of unhappiness is never the situation, but your thoughts about it. You have a voice in your head, but you don't realize it, because you believe that voice is who you are. No one notices, because almost all of us suffer from it and then consider it as a normal thing. While you think, you believe it is you who is thinking. We believe in this voice and identify with it. And so we are always thinking. Right now, that voice in your head is saying something like, I don't have a voice in my head. This incessant mental noise prevents us from finding the area of inner serenity. And so, we cannot discover who we really are. This causes the mind to create a false self, which projects a shadow of fear and suffering over us. The compulsive thinker, that is, almost everyone, lives in a world filled with conflicts and problems. Therefore, the imbalance, the thinking has become a disease. If used correctly, the mind is a magnificent instrument. However, when we use it wrongly, it becomes destructive. For example, there is nothing wrong with the division and multiplication of cells in the human body. But when this process happens without considering the organism as a whole, the cells proliferate and we have disease. To be even more precise, it's not you who uses your mind wrongly. In general, you simply don't use the mind. It's the mind that uses you. And that's the disease. You believe you are your mind. You believe you are your thought. Therein lies the delusion. The instrument has taken over you. Understand. Can you get rid of your mind when you want to? Have you found the button that turns it off? So it's because the mind is using you. The fact is that we are so identified with it that we don't even realize we are its slaves. You are not your mind. If someone goes to the doctor and says, I hear a voice inside my head, they will probably be referred to a psychiatrist. One way or another, almost everyone hears a voice or some voices in their head all the time. They are the involuntary processes of thinking that we believe we cannot stop, manifesting as continuous monologues or dialogues. The voice comments, speculates, judges, compares, excuses, likes, dislikes, etc. The voice doesn't need to be relevant to the current situation, as it might be reliving the recent or distant past, or rehearsing or imagining possible future situations. Sometimes, this soundtrack is accompanied by mental images or movies. And so, we see and judge the present with the eyes of the past, and build a completely distorted image. It is not uncommon for this voice to become our worst enemy. Many people live with a torturer in their heads, who attacks and punishes them non-stop, draining their vital energy. This is the cause of much anguish and unhappiness, as well as illnesses. The good news is that we can free ourselves from our minds. This is the only true liberation. Take the first step right now. Start paying attention to what the voice says. mainly to repetitive patterns of thought, those old soundtracks you have been hearing inside your head for years. Freedom begins when we realize that we are not the dominating entity, the thinker. Knowing this allows us to observe the entity. Be the observer of your thought. You are below thinking. You are the stillness beneath the mental noise. You are consciousness disguised as a person. The moment we start observing the thinker, we activate a higher level of consciousness. We then begin to realize that there is a vast area of intelligence beyond thought, and that this is just a small aspect of intelligence. We also realize that all truly important things like beauty, love, creativity, joy, and inner peace arise from a place beyond the mind. That's when we start to wake up. Just observe. Listen to the voice inside your head. Be there as a witness. Be impartial when listening to this voice. Do not judge anything. Do not judge or condemn what you hear, because doing that would mean the same voice just came back through the back door. You will soon notice, there is the voice and here I am, listening to it, observing it. Feeling your own presence is not a thought. It is something that arises from a point beyond the mind. So, when you hear a thought, it means you are aware, not only of the thought, but of yourself as a witness to the thought. This happens because a new dimension of awareness has just emerged. When you listen to the thought, you feel a conscious presence, which is your deeper inner self behind the thought. Thought then loses the power it has over you and quickly fades away. Because the mind is no longer receiving the energy generated by your identification with it. This is the beginning of the end of involuntary and compulsive thinking. When the thought drifts away, we notice an interruption in the mental flow, a space of emptiness in the mind. In the beginning, these spaces are short, perhaps only a few seconds, but gradually they become longer. When these spaces occur, we feel a certain serenity and inner peace. This is the beginning of the natural state of feeling unity with being, which is usually obscured by the mind. This is not a selfish state, but a state of generosity. With practice, the feeling of peace and serenity will intensify. In fact, this intensity has no end. You will feel a subtle emanation of joy springing from within, which is the joy of being. In this state of inner connection, we become very alert. We are fully present. As we delve deeper into this area of the empty mind, we begin to perceive the state of pure consciousness. In this state, we feel our own presence with such intensity and joy that thoughts, emotions, our body, the outside world, everything becomes insignificant compared to it. Another possible method, besides observing the thinker, is to create a space in the flow of the mind by directing our attention entirely to the now, becoming aware of this present moment, here and now. By doing so, we divert consciousness away from mental activity and create a space of empty mind, where we remain extremely alert and aware. This is the essence of meditation. In daily life, it is possible to put this into practice by giving full attention to any routine activity normally considered just a means to an end, in order to transform it into an end in itself. For example, every time you go up or downstairs, at home or work, pay close attention to each step, each movement, even your breathing. Or when washing your hands, pay attention to all the sensations caused by this activity, such as the sound, the contact with the water, the movement of your hands, the smell of the soap, and so on. Or then, when you get into your car, pause for a few seconds after closing the door and observe the flow of your breath. Be fully present. Become aware of a silent yet powerful sense of presence. Every time we create a space in the flow of thoughts, the light of awareness intensifies. To measure your success in this practice, check the degree of peace within you. Thus, progressively, we lose identification with the mind, and we associate ourselves with the silence, the now. Continuing this practice of presence and observation of thoughts, one day you might find yourself smiling at the voice inside your head, like you would smile at a child's antics. This means that you are no longer taking what goes through your mind so seriously, because your inner self no longer depends on it. In summary, our biggest obstacle is that we identify as the mind. This is the most important step on the journey toward enlightenment, and we learn to dissociate from our minds. And this change is available and within reach of everyone. Here and now.